All right, today we're going to jump right in looking at matrices. For example 1, we're going to identify the dimensions of a matrix. So the first one is row. A row goes left to right, and that means I'm going left to right, and I have 1, 2 rows. Column. Column is top to bottom or up and down. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, have 5 columns. So the dimensions of example 1, I have a 2 by 5. Row by column, I have 1, 2 rows, and then I have 5 columns. For example 2, I am going to add matrix 1 to matrix 2. However, make sure you look at the note at the top. If the dimensions of the matrix are not the same, then I am not able to add them. But for example 2, I have a 2 by 2 plus a 2 by 2, and that's going to give me a 2 by 2 as my answer matrix. This is my answer. But let's look at how I got this answer. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add, this is term element A in both matrix. So I'm going to add 1 plus 0 in the first position. Then I'm going to add 3 plus 2 in the second position, that's B. Then I'm going to add 4 and negative 5. Last, I am going to add negative 2 and a negative 3. When I add these terms in my matrix, this gives me the answer. 1 plus 0 is 1. 3 plus 2 is 5. 4 plus a negative 5 is a negative 1. And finally, negative 2 plus negative 3 gives you a negative 5. So for example 2, when you add matrix A to matrix B, you get 1, 5, negative 1, and negative 5. For example 3, we're going to multiply the 3 by 3 matrix by a scalar. The scalar is a number on the outside of the matrix, and all we simply do is distribute that scalar to each term inside of the matrix. 1/2 times 4 gives me 2. 1/2 times 2 gives me 1. 1/2 times negative 4 gives me negative 2. Now we're going to the second row. 1/2 times negative 6 is negative 3. 1/2 times negative 2 is negative 1. 1/2 times 10 is 5. 1/2 times 0 is 0. 1/2 times 8 is 4. 1/2 times negative 3 is a negative 3 over 2. For example 3, your answer matrix is 2, 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 1, 5, 0, 4, and negative 3 over 2. For example 4, so if you look at example 4, I have 2 matrices to be added. However, they both have a scalar in the front. Because they have those scalars in the front, I'm going to simply distribute that scalar to all three terms in this 3 by 1 matrix. So when I do that, I am going to have a negative 4. 2 times 3 is 6, and 2 times 1 is 2. So my first matrix is negative 4, 6, 2. Then in my second matrix, I'm going to distribute that 3 or multiply the 3 by all 3 of these terms. So 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times 0 is 0. And 3 times negative 1 is a negative 3. So I have 12, 0, and a negative 3 here. Now I can add these matrices. Remember, if there's a scalar in the front, I must multiply each element of the matrix by the scalar before I can add them. So for example, negative 4 plus 12 is going to give you 8. 6 plus 0 is 6. 2 plus a negative 3 is negative 1. And this is your answer matrix.